Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at Carnival Sunshine, which is a cruise ship built back in 1996. We're going to see what it looks like today to help you understand what you can experience and what you can expect should you ever decide to go on this trip. There are a lot of things that we really enjoyed about our cruise on this Carnival. However, there are some things we think that you absolutely need to know before you get on. So let's get started now. Built back in 1996, it was refurbished back in 2013, so it hasn't been touched in a decade. The question is, what exactly can you expect when you get on board? Here are just some of the things that we're going to talk about in this episode. We're going to look at the rooms, the pool, entertainment, food, shopping, fitness center, the spa, and we're going to start our journey off right where you enter in the Atrium. Just by taking a look at this video, you can see that the Atrium is grand. It goes up several floors. It's in the heart and it's the main hub of the center part of the ship. And it is absolutely beautiful. A stunning first entry point. A lot of ships don't have this, and I'm glad that this one does. In my opinion, although it has an older look, the Atrium is absolutely beautiful. A lot of the newer ships don't have this feature. They tend to make better use of the space. However, I like this sense of grandeur that the Atrium has. It feels like you're not on a cruise ship, you're not clustered in. It's quite remarkable when you actually get on board and walk in and see this Atrium. More than just a bar area, there's a lot of live entertainment at the Atrium. And one of the things I love to do on a Carnival cruise or any cruise is just to sit and relax and watch the world go by. And it has some great relaxing seats. It does have sort of an adult feel, so kids may not be altogether comfortable here, but in my opinion, one of the best spots on the ship. Now, if you're inside the ship, the Atrium is going to be the main gathering place, hands down. However, once you go outside, then the pool deck takes over, and actually more people gather here at the pool deck than anywhere else on the ship. For a ship this large with 3,000 passengers, one of the things I thought was sort of strange was that this is the largest pool they have aboard the ship. It's, in my opinion, considering the size of the ship, quite small. It's not very deep either. You're looking at maybe 4.5 feet. The pool deck is prime real estate. People get out here pretty early and reserve a spot. They'll put a towel and a bag down even though they're not supposed to do that. Now, here's another pro tip for you. When you get on board, make sure you have a backpack. And that's because you have to check your bags. And oftentimes it takes a while for them to get the bags into the cabin. You see a lot of people walking around with backpacks because they want to start their vacation and have their necessities right with them. The other big reason why people book cruise on Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and any other cruise ship is the unlimited dining features. And there's some changes that are happening, not just with Carnival, but throughout the cruise line that we'll talk about. But the food here, I can't say that it was a huge variety. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of different types of food. However, I kind of felt that maybe the food was a little bit repetitive. However, they did have some specialty restaurant. In my opinion, Guy's Burger was the absolute best. But the food at some restaurants were great, others not so much. So you really have to kind of see as you go. Now, here's a fun fact that you're probably not going to like to hear, but the average person on a cruise gains a pound a day. So if you're on a 7-day cruise, you're going to come back 7 pounds heavier. Now, I wasn't on this cruise alone. I was there with 13 other folks, and they averaged the food at 7.3. Average all 13, it's a 7.3, which is kind of what it is online. They say the food is not great, but it's not horrible either. You're going to find a lot of options, and more than likely, you're going to find one or two things that you're going to really enjoy. You'll find that there are lots of different spaces that you can eat and enjoy time with friends and family. And one of the things I really enjoyed was that there was a lot of spaces that you could have a water view. That means you could sit down somewhere and you could look out and you could look at the ocean or wherever you were coming into port. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it, is that it really had a variety of seating and just areas that you can enjoy and be with family. Also, they had areas that if you were a couple, that you could be just with your loved one and just still have a nice intimate meal without really feeling like you're on, people are on top of you. Now, I am not known for being a foodie, but I love desserts. And one of the things I was looking forward to was their ice cream. But in my opinion, it was absolutely horrible. It was icy. It just was not creamy. Didn't like it at all. Now, in addition to the buffet, there are specialty restaurants, and that's what you're looking at some of these images right now. And they charge a premium per person to go to these restaurants. And in my opinion, the specialty restaurants, was it worth it? Not so much. I thought the food was a little bit better, but was it worth paying another $20 or $30 per person for these additions? I didn't think so at all. I think that the buffet food wasn't bad, and the specialty restaurants maybe a little bit better, but that kind of is subjective. I was fortunate where I was able to try out all the different restaurants, but I didn't really think that it was worth the extra cost. Now, on every cruise line, there's going to be a main dining space. And in this cruise, it was the Sunrise Restaurant. And we're going to take a complete look at this restaurant so you can see it in all its glory. This is right before the crowd gets in, so you can kind of see what the table settings look like. And as you can see, if you have a large family, they will set it up so that you can be with your family. Make sure you arrange that either before the cruise or earlier on into the cruise. And also, they have an opportunity where the hostess and the waiters, they get up and they do their little dance routine. Now, I particularly enjoyed this routine, while my wife did not. She just wanted them to stop dancing and just, serve and give great quality service. But I thought it was entertaining because they can't dance, and it's fun to see them trying to stay in rhythm and in tune. But it was comedic for me, but maybe annoying for others. Now, there are some things I liked in the main restaurant, others I did not. Here's one thing I liked. The food was good. It wasn't huge proportions, no need for that, but it was good quality in small proportions. Also, you can order multiple things from the item. Here's something I didn't like. If you wanted to get they had things that were free on the menu and then other things that you had to pay for. I didn't like that extra cost at all. That's kind of something new in cruise lines, and I, for one, don't like that. If you've ever been on a cruise, some cruise lines take dining seriously. I felt that in years it's kind of gotten watered down, and I have never seen it this bad. People came to the main restaurants in every single type of attire. There wasn't really a formal night, and there wasn't any type of formal gear. You see people in, shorts that were super shorts, and people in pajamas, and then, camouflage pants. It was an absolute wreck. So when you go into the dining hall, believe you me, there are no standards whatsoever. Carnival has rightfully developed a reputation of being a fun cruise ship. And you look at this right here, it looks like you're at a water park, but you're not. You're just on the top deck enjoying the space and the time. Most of these people don't know each other. They just happen to meet each other because they enjoy the same sport and game, and then they get together and have a fun time. These guys playing basketball right here don't know each other, and they're not that good. Look at this shot. That's a shot. That's not a pass. And these guys have a good time. I played with them, and it was awesome. Two things. This area right here is 100% free. There's no wristband, special card, or anything needed to get on and play these games. All the stuff is provided by Carnival. It is included with your price of admission. That's something I absolutely loved. To get you acclimated as to who you'll find on board, I gotta prepare you. You're going to find a lot of kids. This is a family cruise ship. Now, in saying that, also there is an adult area that's strictly for adults. There are no kids there. It has their own pool, their own chairs, and it's really a nice area if you want to get away from this family environment. Prior to going on this cruise, I was on a rope course, and I paid $60 per person for this rope course. In my opinion, this is the best value for your money. However, the line, in my opinion, is the longest. I had to wait maybe 20 minutes from the back to get to the front of the line, but this is a great value. It's absolutely free. And I think about, my 3 kids went through this rope course and myself. That's 4 people. If we had to pay outside, we'd be paying almost $250. So in my opinion, the thing that you want to do more than anything else, if there's one thing that you had to do, it's definitely should be this rope course. The main auditorium for the night and every single day is going to take place in this giant auditorium room. And I'm not going to mix words. It was an absolute horror show. I didn't like it at all. My wife also hated it very much because you're not listening to live music. They're singing to a soundtrack, but there's no live music, no live band. It's mostly geared for older adults. The songs that they're played, young kids are not going to be able to understand or appreciate it. I thought that this could have been a great opportunity, a big win. Overall, I thought it was okay, but it wasn't great. Nothing to write home about. This is not going to be a memorable part of the cruise. You let me know what you think in the comments section, but for me, this section, part of the cruise, was an absolute bomb. But don't take my word for it. The cruise ship was full. However, you're going to see a shot of the first night. Everybody showed up and came out. However, most of the earlier shots that you saw, there was no one in the audience. That's because after seeing it for the first time, they didn't want to come back. There were other entertainment options available on board if you didn't like the auditorium area. And there were a lot of smaller venues where you could, really get up close to the musicians, and it was live music. And in my opinion also, it was a mixed bag. I didn't really think that the entertainment was that great when it came to even the smaller venues. So in my opinion, so far, it's been a miss. The biggest thing that I got away from this was, if you know how to dance or you have some moves and you want to let loose, it was an environment that allowed you to do that. It allowed you to get on stage. It allowed you to, learn your dance move. In a minute, you're going to see some folks who have practiced. Here they are. They have probably practiced this at home for who knows how long, but they come here and they can get on the dance floor and just have a great time. What you're looking at right now is the Karaoke Bar, and this was more funny than anything else because you had people of varying degrees of skill who would get up there and just make a complete fool of themselves or surprise you and blow you out of the water. This, in my opinion, was a huge win. If you like comedy, I recommend you go to every single comedy show. These people, in my opinion, were A-list entertainers. Every joke was hidden. It was funny. They knew what they were doing. They could read the crowd. You're not going to be disappointed going to the comedy show. Every single performance, every single comedian was absolutely breathtaking, just hilarious. If you like to blow money and go broke on this cruise, well, then you're in luck because there is a casino on board. Now, in my opinion, it's not that full right now, but mostly it was pretty packed. It was amazing how this place packed out and how many people were just willing to bet huge amounts of sum. Now, they had game of chance where you could sit down and just press a button, or you could, have games of skill like poker, Texas Hold'em, or 21. I love to come here and just watch people play. It was very entertaining to see them win and see them lose. There is still so much more to come, but if you're watching this far, then you're probably going to enjoy the things on my channel. So the two things you can do to help me is to like and subscribe. Let's talk about the ability to use your phone. When I was on this cruise, my wife had to work, so we got the internet package. It was absolutely horrible. We talked to folks who had the upgraded package. It didn't make any difference. It was absolutely horrible. The best thing I can recommend you do when it comes to communication is to get the text package, where you could text people about where you are on the ship and where they are. You have to communicate that way, and that, in my opinion, was an exceptional value. Now, the one thing I absolutely recommend you do is to get the Carnival app. And the reason why is because the Carnival app, once you get on board, activates and allows you to see everything that's happening on board. That way you never miss out on the performance or any kind of special events or offers or treats or anything. So definitely get the app. If you're cruising, for the most part, you're going to face good weather, but occasionally you'll come across stormy seas, and this is pretty rough weather we're going through right here, and it rained for an entire day. Now, the reason why this is important is because unless you have options available for you to do inside the cruise, because you can't always be on the top deck, then that's going to be something that you need to plan for. immediately after it stopped raining, it's like the crew went into overdrive. They immediately squeegeed up all the loose water, got it off the decks, and got the ship dry and into tip-top shape. One of the things I enjoy doing on every cruise is to get into a quiet space where I can think, plan ahead, and just reflect on life. And one of the things I enjoyed about this cruise ship was that there was lots of places inside, especially if it's raining outside, where I could really sit down and have quiet and peace. This right here is the library. Right now there are kids in there playing board games, all provided by Carnival. And if it's raining outside, these are some good fun options for you to do. Now, here's something I absolutely hated about the ship. When we were there, I wanted to take my kids to the arcade. This arcade is $2 per game. The games last around 30 seconds, some less. Some games were like $2.50. It was absolutely ridiculously expensive. The good and convenient thing was all you needed was your room key card in order to activate these games. Here's what I recommend. If you have kids, make sure their cards can't activate any of these games without your permission, because you could easily spend literally hundreds of dollars in these spaces without even knowing it. Every cruise line is in business to make money, and they do so in 4 ways. First, the ticket they sell you to get on board. Then once you're on board, they want to sell you alcohol. After that, it's excursions for you to go places and do things and have fun. And also in selling you various degrees of different products. And there are plenty of products for you to buy on Carnival. You can probably guess all the many different things that they will try to sell you on a cruise ship. Jewelry, watches, perfume, handbags, clothing, photographs, you name it. If it can be marketed and packaged and sold, they will sell it to you at a premium. A lot of stuff here they say is duty free and you save taxes, and you do save some on some things. But for the most part, if you didn't go on the ship looking to buy it, you're probably going to buy something you don't need, you don't want, that you're going to get rid of later. Right now we're in a art auction, and they will sell you everything that's not basically tied down to the ship. Some people hate this particular part of the cruise industry. I, for one, don't. When I go on board, I have in mind the things that I'm going to buy. If it's just me and my wife, we buy stuff for my parents and our kids, because normally my kids are with my parents. We buy them a gift. But we go into this with the mindset of what we're going to buy, how much we're going to spend, just have some limits and enjoy the process. The biggest takeaway I have for you is don't be pressured to buy something that you feel you don't need, and also make sure you know what is a need versus what's a want. If you like to drink, there are lots of places aboard ship where you can get absolutely hammered and have a good time. There's always a bar somewhere that you can buy alcohol. No matter what venue or what you're doing or what you're seeing or where you are, there's an opportunity for you to get drunk. My advice to you in going aboard Carnival is this. There are plenty of opportunities for you to drink, and if you want to drink, buy a package. A package sets a predetermined number of drinks over a certain period of time that you can drink per day, and sometimes if you time it out right, it absolutely works in your favor. But if not, then I would say buy a drink a la carte. Expect to pay maybe $10 to $15 per drink, but I think the package gives you a way of knowing what your drink cost is up front and not exceeding the amount, and provided you drink enough to make it worth buying the package. Here's another thing to be mindful of. If you decide that you want to buy a drink package and there are 2 adults in the room, one who drinks and one who does not, you have to buy a package for every adult in the room. Now, one of the things that you may not like about this cruise is that alcohol seems to be everywhere. However, in my opinion, if you don't drink, you don't really see it. This is in the main auditorium. I didn't even realize that it was down there until I happened to walk by and take a look. So if you're worried about your kids constantly feeling like they're in a bar, that's not the case at all. There's lots of places and opportunities for you to drink, but there's also lots of opportunities for you to have fun and not even notice that it's happening all around you. Here's a tip for you in the event you are not going to be part of the drink package. Bring a small travel cup, because Carnival only gives you a small cup that can hold maybe 5 to 8 ounces, and that gets tiring after a while having to constantly fill that cup up. I am now walking down the hallway to my room. I recommend you dress up your room door. It's something fun to do and makes finding your room so much more easier. I have just opened the door to the most typical indoor, no view room that you'll find aboard Carnival. And no matter how much you pay, the room is going to be small. And I look at the room as just a space that I sleep, and then I wake up and I leave and I have fun outside of this space. However, let's take a look at this space because it's going to be your home for more than likely a week. Now, I did say the ship is, quite a bit old, maybe almost 3 decades, and some of that wear and tear is going to show particularly in the room. It does give you a decent amount of storage space, but really, no matter how you slice it, every single part and component of this room is going to be small and tight. It's going to be close quarters and tight living. I love the fact that they gave you a refrigerator. You have some drawer space, you have some closet space, not a lot of floor space in this room. And when we head into the bathroom, it is extremely tight quarters. Those 2 bottles of water there are not complimentary. They cost around $4.25 per bottle. I like that each room has temperature control, and the phone you just saw earlier allows you to call room to room at no cost. The paper on top of this bed is called Fun Time, which is printed every day to let you know the itinerary of the day. Now, if you thought the room was small, you're going to really be claustrophobic in the bathroom. The bathroom really can only accommodate 1 person at a time. If you are 2 people in here, you're going to be falling all over each other. So it's something to get used to, especially the shower. It's extremely small. I do love the fact that they have the soap dispensers and not give you those little things of soap. This is a room that has a little bit more space. You see, it has a balcony view, but no matter how you slice it, these rooms are small. They're not your typical hotel rooms. Here is another room that's designed for, believe it or not, 4 people. You see that there's literally almost no space in here for luggage and other essentials that you may think are necessary. There's a floor right where there's normally a sofa or some living space. That depending on the package you get, it can be very tight. What you're looking at right now is the towel station where they give out towels for the pool. You can use your room key card to get towels, but be careful. Each one of these towels costs $25. There's a towel in your room, and if you get extra towels, that's fine. They'll give it to you. However, if you lose it, then you just bought it. Of you who can't seem to get away from the gym and who loves to start your day with an early morning workout, there is a spa and fitness center. The fitness center is well appointed. I mostly worked out during the early morning hours because that's what worked for me. And when I got there, it was pretty much empty. As the day kind of moved on, it got quite busy. They limit your workout to a half hour if someone is waiting for the machine. But for the most part, this is what it looked like. As you can see, it has lots of equipment. There was really not a line. I was never there and felt like I needed to get off the equipment to allow someone else to get on. One thing that was nice was that they had a full shower. What I liked about this was that my wife likes to wake up pretty late. I like to wake up pretty early. So for me to go back into that small room and take a shower was a problem. So showering here after the workout and beginning my day early was not a problem. And they had this steam room here, which was absolutely free and included with your price of admission to everyone on board. And it was hardly ever used. There are 12, count them, 12 decks on this cruise ship. What does that mean? The most effective way to get around is not going to be the elevators, it's going to be the stairs. Oftentimes, if you rely on the elevators, you may spend quite a bit of time waiting there, especially during the busy hours. I do want to talk a little bit about the wait time, especially if you're wheelchair bound. During the busy times, like right around dinner, I found that people who were in wheelchair waited an awfully long time in order to get an elevator. That's another great reason to take the stairs. Also, try to burn that pound a day off, or maybe make it a half a pound instead of a full pound, is even more reason just to take the stairs. Now, I start off this video by saying that this is an old ship, and it is, and it requires a great deal of maintenance. So I just want to talk about the staff and crew here, and they were always cleaning the ship. I found the ship to be exceptionally well maintained. Considering the age, there were always folks around that were making sure that every little spot was immaculate, and the staff was pretty good about, you know, attending to your needs, especially if you want something cleaned or wiped down before you use it. They were always very accommodating, both in the room and all throughout the entire ship. The quality of the staff aboard a cruise ship can either sometimes make or break the trip. There were very few Americans aboard this particular cruise. There were 3 Americans out of hundreds of staff members. Say again, 3 Americans out of hundreds. The good thing is that almost everybody on board spoke English, so communicate with the staff is not going to be a problem. They come from countries all over the world, so if you're a foreign speaking individual, you're more than likely going to find somebody who speaks your language on board. One of the things that these staff members all have in common is their strong work ethic. They often all work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for months at a time. I say again, 12-hour days, 7 days a week for months at a time. At the end of the cruise, you get the opportunity to show your love by giving them a tip. If they do a great job, I strongly recommend you give a generous tip. You can designate your tip to individuals, and if you're not sure how much to tip, Carnival will give you a range, you know. So for me, I always like to tip up because I really felt that these folks made my cruise, you know, enjoyable. But really, it's up to you how much you feel that it's worth. If you don't have money, there is an ATM on board, but I strongly recommend you bring cash. Not just any type of cash, but dollar bills and 5. That's because if you give a tip of $5 and you really only meant to give 2, if you don't have change, you're gonna either be stuck with not giving a tip at all or giving a $5 tip. Now, this video was about Carnival Sunshine, and regardless of what you may think about the ship is going somewhere. And that's one of the great things about ships, is that if you're not having a great time on board, there's always opportunities for you to get off board and really enjoy your vacation. And the Sunshine really cruises primarily around the Caribbean. As it gets a little bit older, they may move it to the European side, but for the most part, you're going to be in the Caribbean, somewhere fun, where people are having a good time, where the weather is warm, and there are nice sandy beaches with clear water. I'm going to be showing you videos right now about vacation locations that you can go on the Sunshine. Essentially though, I want to sum up by saying this. We had a great time on a Carnival Sunshine. There's some things that we really enjoyed, others that we didn't like so much. One of the things that I didn't care for so much was that I didn't have a lot of food choices, and that was a big part of me going on the cruise. Now, don't get me wrong, there are going to be dozens of different types of food for you to eat. However, I just thought that there would be more, considering the size of the ship and the size of the passengers, the number of passengers that are on board. One of the best benefits about it being an older ship is that it's likely going to cost a lot less than, say, some of the newer ones. It is an older ship. You're going to see wear and tear, especially in the cabin area. And there were parts throughout the ship that we saw that there were definite signs of it being older. However, the crew definitely did a good job of trying to address them as much as possible. We saw them working pretty much around the clock to make the ship as, you know, seaworthy and as beautiful as possible. When we first got on board, the first thing that we saw was the Atrium, and I loved the grandeur of it all. However, I did feel it was a bit outdated. It was built in 1997. However, the whole feel of the ship reminded me of the 1980s. It had a very 1980s feel to it and not a new brand crisp feel to it. Also, some things that they really didn't incorporate were things like USB port. You go into that room, there is no USB port. So if you don't bring your own, you're gonna be stuck paying around $15. I say again, $15 for a USB port at the gift shop. Overall, I'll say it's not the best cruise ship I've been on. I've been on much better. However, it's by far not the worst. Overall, myself and the group that I was with gave it a 7 out of 10 stars. And you'll find that pretty much is around what you'll get on the internet too as well when we did our research for this video. Thank you for watching. We certainly appreciate your time. Please remember to like and subscribe.